Hi, I'm Jade Simmons, and we're back for yet another episode of Emerge Already. Tips to lessen the plight of the aspiring concert artist. Now, I've got to be honest with you. Tonight's episode is about something that I thought we wouldn't have to cover, but I've been getting tons of emails from you that tell me you want to know how to create a killer press kit. And Emerge Already is here for you, so we're going to cover just that. The first thing you need to know is that press kits are about making an impression. They should capture your energy and not just list your credentials. Press kits are as much about the visual as they are about the written content. So you want to make sure that you have killer photos that really capture who you are. They capture you as an artist and as a person. That's going to be key. And then you're going to want to make sure that you're offering only key information and omitting the unnecessary because you don't want to clutter the presentation. That's going to be crucial. I got a really great post on Facebook from Susan Del Journal. She is the general manager of the classical label at E1 Music. And here are things that she wants you to know. Firstly, she rarely ever reads through an entire long-form bio. Secondly, she only listens to about the first minute of a demo CD. And thirdly, she's going to be thumbing through your press kit to get to the information on what you've done most recently. And she's looking for things that are going to apply to the needs she has today. Tip number 1. It's true, there is more to a book than its cover, but you better believe the cover of your press kit is really important, people. Find some way to identify your press kit that makes it stand out from all the hundreds of other press kits sitting on a presenter's desk. The cover that you have on your press kit should be awesome enough to frame. So instead of taping a photo on the front, if you can spare the expense, consider laser printing an awesome image of yourself complete with really great graphics that display your name and your title on the cover. So if you haven't guessed it by now, let me just spell it out and say that presentation is everything. Colors matter, fonts matter, placement matters, and standard copy paper doesn't make the best first impression, but don't feel the need to use high-end paper on every piece. Think of it this way, the more important the piece, the higher quality the paper should be. Let's continue on in this vein of paper pieces. Tip number 3, I like to think of it as killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and that's simply with creating a one-piece pullout. Now this pullout is going to have another great photo of you on the front, maybe your name and your title, and on the back it's going to have just a one-page bio. This bio should read like an adventure story of your artistry. Maybe you're going to include one really great quote about yourself at the top of the bio. Now it's optional whether or not you're going to want to include an entire page of quotes. If you have really great stellar standout quotes, then maybe it warrants a full page. But if not, don't force it, because ultimately it's just one more piece of paper that may or may not get read based on how great your other materials truly are. Now, if you've been taking my advice so far, you've already got 2 great photos of yourself. But I say go ahead and include one more contrasting shot. This is on real photo paper, and you're going to put that on the left side of your nifty pocket folder. And that shot is going to be very different than what was on the cover and what was on the front of your pullout piece. So now you've got 3 great images of yourself that show 3 very different sides of your artistic personality. Now this next tip is easily the most important tip of the night. So if you don't take any of my other advice, take this one. And that is to choose your supplementary paper pieces very judiciously. Old school methods call for cramming as many pieces of paper as possible down a reader's throat. And I can tell you, I have heard funny stories about companies who represented their artists that way. And the word on the street, the joke on the street rather, is that the presenter says, I barely had enough time to get through the press kit, let alone engage the artist. You don't want them to be laughing about you in that same way. So don't think that one blanket press kit will work for every scenario. Cater your selections, pick your pieces based on who you're pitching to. For instance, concert artists, if you are sending out press kits to presenters, I would highly suggest you include your artistic menu. Now that's a list of all of the wonderful things that you offer as an artist. In the case of sending to orchestras, I definitely recommend you send your concerto list, but I don't think a repertoire list in general is very necessary. I would definitely include 1 to 2 really great reviews. Now, let's say you're pitching to record labels. I'd suggest maybe including a listing that talks about some of your very special performance projects that would also make for very special recording projects. Now, when including actual press coverage, you want to really narrow it down to the pieces that re-emphasize the impression that you're trying to make on the person reading your press kit. When you're putting in real articles about yourself, make sure that they have amazing headlines, because that's going to be the first and many times the last thing that the presenter actually sees about you. My personal suggestion is 3 to 5 paper supplements max. So you have to be very strategic about what you're including. Now let's move on to hard material media pieces, starting with the infamous demo CD. Remember what I said Susan wanted you to know at the beginning of this episode, which is she only listens to about the first minute of your demo CD, so don't hold out. Hit them hard with a piece that makes the listener sit back, take note, and keeps their fingers far away from the stop or the pause buttons. Remember, if you make a strong enough listening impression at the beginning, they'll keep listening, and that's when you want to make sure that all of your versatility is on display. And if you're going to include a DVD, make sure that you look the part, make sure that your background is great and as high quality of production as possible without breaking the bank. This next tip surprisingly gets overlooked when people are putting together their press kits. And that's simply that you want to make sure that you're assembling all of the information in the most logical order possible. Typically start with your bio on top. So when you open up that wonderful pocket folder, on the right side is that really nice glossy pullout that has your gorgeous face on the front, and on the back is your one-page bio. Behind that's going to be the next paper piece that gives us critical information about what it is that you do and what it is that you're doing now. Follow that with recent press releases, and your press clippings are going to continue towards the back of the folder. But remember, if you're only doing about 3 to 5 paper pieces, there's not a lot to have to thumb through. So everything you've been offering on that right side of the packet is all high impact, great, wonderful headlines about yourself. Now on the left side of that folder, I would suggest you include that other contrast photo that we talked about. That's the photo that's on actual photo paper. And that's also where you're going to put your hard material media, your CD or your DVD. This next point is sometimes a point of debate, but I personally don't think that a press kit is the place for cover letters or resumes unless they're requested. One exception could be in the case of pitching to a record label. You might include a letter that either talks about your pitch or talks about the fact that you want to set an appointment to make a pitch. But for the most part, I say don't include a resume or a cover letter. Why? Because nobody cares. Unfortunately, your awesome credentials look just like everybody else's awesome credentials for the most part. Now, if you just can't get over this, I suggest instead of a long form resume that you send maybe a quick fact sheet that lists only about 10 of your most recent achievements. And these are the achievements that set you apart from all of the other artists who are sending in press kits. Now remember, you'll make these decisions based on who it is that you're sending the press kit to. Now this final tip is an obvious one, but I don't want to assume you already know it. You know what they say about assuming. So please, people, make sure you leave some way to let the presenter know how to contact you. If there are business card slits on your pocket folder, of course include your business card there. It's entirely appropriate to paperclip your business card to your bio or to your letter if you should decide to include one. Believe me, making this type of investment in yourself in terms of time and money when it comes to producing this killer press kit will increase the odds that people are going to take notice of you. More importantly, they're going to take notice of the fact that you pay attention to detail, that you put lots of hard work into your presentation, and that you enjoy producing a stellar final product. And I'm willing to bet that there's a great chance the person reading your press kit will assume that the excellence they've just seen in your press kit will also translate into what you can do in person. Now you know that your press kit has paid off not just because you've gotten a gig, but because when you get to town to play the gig, the presenter is going on and on about stuff that they only could have found out about you through your press kit. And that means that they have gone through it piece by piece, and that's the goal. Now, my goal is to bring you tips each week that will hopefully lessen the plight of the aspiring concert artist. And I do that every week for you right here on Emerge Already. See you next week.